We have been conditioned to believe that female career ambition is a purely neutral force, a measure of success that has no correlation with the foundations of relationship stability. That belief is costing men their marriages, their security, and their financial futures. This isn't about blaming a specific gender for pursuing success. This is about understanding the psychological and environmental factors, the opportunity, the proximity, and the status alignment that radically erode fidelity in modern relationships. The conventional narrative insists that infidelity is simply a matter of character, a random failing that can happen anywhere to anyone. That narrative serves to keep men confused and vulnerable. When we analyze modern work environments, we see that certain professions concentrate the precise ingredients required for a wife to seek an external relationship. High levels of stress, long or unpredictable hours, proximity to high-value partners, clients, executives, colleagues, travel, and perhaps most importantly, significant financial independence. Before we dive into the specific careers that statistically correlate with these destructive patterns, I need to know where you are standing when you hear this truth. Tell me the city you are watching from right now. Now, let's talk about the foundation of the problem: financial independence and the removal of the biological cost of exit. For millennia, pair bonding was reinforced by necessity. The modern, high-earning woman has systematically removed that safety mechanism. When she earns as much as, or more than, her partner, the financial imperative for fidelity dissolves completely. When the perceived cost of leaving is zero and the emotional or exciting benefit of an external option is high, the barrier to infidelity is significantly lowered. Furthermore, these high-status careers often cultivate a specific psychological profile: highly competitive, demanding of status, accustomed to frequent positive validation, and often displaying what we call an external locus of control, meaning they attribute failures or dissatisfaction to external circumstances rather than internal choices. These traits are highly productive in a corporate environment, but catastrophic in an intimate relationship that demands humility, vulnerability, and internal accountability. When a woman with this profile experiences the inevitable friction of a long-term stable relationship, her impulse is not to repair or compromise, but to seek the excitement and validation found in the marketplace, which her career facilitates. We begin our necessary deep dive with the first 4 career fields that repeatedly emerge in research concerning the correlation between occupation and extramarital activity. The first career field that demonstrates this high-risk correlation is finance and high-level corporate banking. It is characterized by immense pressure, long working hours, high financial reward, and constant exposure to power. When a woman steps onto a trading floor or into the executive suites of an investment bank, she is immediately immersed in a high-status environment where money, power, and risk create an intoxicating mix. The stability and predictability of the partner she chose for security, often a man with a steady, less volatile income, suddenly look dull when compared to the charismatic, risk-taking, and highly compensated men she interacts with daily. Psychologically, working in finance fuels adrenaline, and adrenaline is often misinterpreted as attraction. The intensity of high-stakes deals, the late-night negotiations, the post-deal celebrations, all create artificial intimacy and trauma bonding with colleagues. Studies show that women in these roles often begin to view their partner at home as a constraint, a necessary anchor, rather than a romantic equal. The comparison disease is rampant here. They are constantly surrounded by men who possess greater status, resources, and often the exact aggressive, risk-taking personality they initially found exciting but chose to bypass for stability. The corporate credit card and the constant justification for late meetings and business travel provide both the opportunity and the narrative cover necessary for discreet infidelity. The second area of concern is healthcare professionals, specifically surgeons, doctors, and certain high-level nurses. This might seem counterintuitive, as the healthcare profession is often associated with caring and ethical standards. Think about the dynamics: 12-hour shifts, life and death stakes, shared trauma, and a powerful team structure where physical and emotional intimacy are often blurred. When a woman spends days and nights in close proximity to a male colleague, relying on him for critical decisions and experiencing profound emotional peaks and valleys, the emotional connection can rapidly surpass the connection she maintains with her partner outside the hospital walls. Furthermore, there is a distinct power dynamic. Physicians, especially surgeons, are often viewed as status symbols, highly educated, high-earning, and possessing authority. The exhaustion from the long hours often leads to a phenomenon called emotional spillover, where the stability of the home becomes insufficient to mitigate the intense stress of the job. She seeks connection and validation from those who understand her suffering, and those people are often the high-status men she works alongside. She is performing service to the public, which makes any scrutiny of her whereabouts seem ungrateful or insecure. This narrative defense mechanism is extremely effective.
These careers are defined by relentless travel, constant client entertainment, and the imperative to build intense, temporary relationships for the sake of closing deals. A female consultant or executive salesperson is, by nature, a professional networker, often utilizing charm and perceived intimacy to achieve professional goals.
She's constantly in new cities, dining with high-powered clients in intimate settings, and sharing hotel lobby time with colleagues. The traditional male protective role is entirely absent, and the combination of loneliness on the road and the proximity to financially successful clients or charismatic colleagues creates a dangerous pathway. The core conflict here is the requirement for performance. In executive sales, a woman must project confidence, sophistication, and often an appealing level of vulnerability to secure trust. She is required to be emotionally and physically appealing to strangers for her professional success. When she returns home, the stable, predictable rhythms of domesticity often fail to provide the same level of novelty and validation she experiences constantly on the road. Our fourth high-risk field is the legal profession, specifically litigators and corporate lawyers. The legal environment fosters a highly adversarial, dominant personality type. These women operate in a high-status hierarchy where their social status is intrinsically tied to their professional dominance. When they commit to a marriage, they often choose a man who is stable, perhaps less competitive, someone who can provide a sense of calm contrast to their career chaos. The legal environment constantly exposes them to men, judges, partners, opposing counsel, who possess higher levels of perceived power and intellectual aggression. This fuels a profound sense of dissatisfaction with the stability they chose. Moreover, the legal system's familiarity with navigating complex ethical gray areas provides a psychological framework that rationalizes secretive behavior and justifies the breach of contract inherent in infidelity. For a litigator, marriage is sometimes seen less as a bond and more as an agreement, one that can be strategically navigated or bypassed when conditions change. In analyzing these first four career paths, finance, high-level healthcare, consulting, sales, and law, we see a clear, undeniable pattern. These fields maximize opportunity, maximize financial independence, and often select for or cultivate personality traits that resist long-term emotional containment and compromise. This is not anecdotal, this is structural. The silent suffering of the stable man at home is the direct, predictable cost of this dynamic. You are seeing the patterns now. This truth must be shared. Drop a powerful phrase in the comments below that defines the importance of recognizing these realities. A mantra for men choosing their partner based on pattern, not feeling. Hit subscribe and give this video a like. You confirm your commitment to reality over comfortable lies. That information will fundamentally change how you view the modern professional landscape and ensure you never walk blindly into this common trap. The greatest lie ever sold to men is the performance of feminine scarcity after a lifetime of abundance. But if you fail to internalize the warning from the first part, you are standing directly in the crosshairs of a psychological catastrophe. Because when a woman chooses a partner not out of genuine, authentic desire, but out of strategic necessity to solve a biological or social ticking clock, that choice creates a toxic residue. She chose you as the solution, not the dream. She settled for you, and that unresolved feeling, that internal knowledge that she accepted less than her idealized fantasy, requires external discharge. This is the catastrophic climax of the "I'm ready now" phase. Before we dissect the exact mechanism by which this strategic settlement guarantees future instability and betrayal, and before we connect these psychological pressures directly back to the career environments that facilitate them, I need to know where this reality is landing right now. Drop the name of the city you are watching from. We are building a global network of men who demand truth and reality in their relationships. So tell me, where are you recognizing these patterns? When a woman with an extensive history selects her stable provider partner, the man she previously ignored for being too nice or too boring, she carries an entire psychological archive into the marriage. Her mind, conditioned by years of chasing excitement, status, and intense short-term validation, often from men significantly higher up the sexual marketplace hierarchy than her current partner, does not simply switch off. She committed to you because her better options evaporated and the biological deadline loomed. She committed because she needed the structure, the housing, the stability, and the last chance at the family unit. You, the stable provider, become the constant living reminder of her compromise. You are the embodiment of the life she had to choose, not the life she wanted to choose. Now we must examine the opportunity structure. The very careers that academic studies correlate with higher rates of female infidelity. The 9 types of work that place women in high-stakes, high-status environments, requiring travel, involving proximity to power, and fostering a culture of competitive networking. These are the environments where the resentment of settling finds its perfect opportunity. Think about the context. She is now married to the stable man, the man who ensures the mortgage is paid, the man who handles the boring logistics of life. She is secure. She enters her professional environment, perhaps as a high-powered consultant, a pharmaceutical sales representative, a media executive, or an investment banker, the typical fields identified in these infidelity correlations. In these environments, she encounters men who possess the exact qualities her husband lacks, or, more accurately, the qualities she prioritized until necessity forced her hand. High social status, novel stimuli, professional risk, travel availability, and intense, fleeting validation. These are often the very men she spent her 20s dating, the uncommitted, successful, exciting types. The marriage you built, based on necessity, lacks the vital protective layer of authentic, visceral desire. The stability you provided becomes the launch pad for her external pursuit of excitement. You provided the resources for her life, and she uses those resources, that professional status, and that travel budget, to reclaim the validation she lost when she married you. It is a desperate, often unconscious, attempt to reset the scales. It is her trying to prove to herself that she is still attractive to the high-status men she used to command. And because the culture told her she deserved it all, the excitement in her youth and the stability afterward, she feels entitled to this external fulfillment, even if it requires the destruction of the structure you built together. The irony is devastating. You committed to her to provide the bedrock of a stable family, believing she had transformed. It merely went underground. And now, given the structural opportunity provided by her career, it re-emerges with vengeance. They provide the excuse, the plausible deniability, and the social access necessary for the settled partner to seek the validation she resents you for not providing. Let me be exhaustively clear about the mechanisms of destruction that result from this settled state. Because she cannot admit to herself that she settled, She projects the dissatisfaction onto you. Your stability becomes boring. Your routine becomes unambitious. Your kindness becomes weakness. The characteristics that made you the necessary provider are now weaponized as flaws. Second, the crisis of intimacy. Sexual desire evaporates because genuine attraction was not the foundation of the commitment. She offered you duty intimacy, a transaction to secure the ring and the stable environment. She withholds affection, citing stress, fatigue, or professional demands, the very demands provided by the career that is exposing her to her ideal external options. The intimacy is transactional because the whole marriage was a transaction. Third, the inevitable return to exits. She never learned genuine conflict resolution because her history taught her that the simplest solution to relationship difficulty is finding a new partner. Now, in the face of genuine marital stress, which every long-term commitment requires, her default mechanism is reactivation. The foundational commitment is shallow because she never invested the deep, messy, authentic work into the relationship. She views the marriage not as an unbreakable covenant, but as a strategic asset that can be replaced or discarded if a better solution, a man who offers both the security and the excitement, appears, or if the stress of being married to a man she settled for becomes too great. You must recognize that the performance of stability is temporary, a mask worn only until the objective of legal commitment is achieved. Once the stability is secured, the woman who was driven by biological panic and comparison disease reverts to her default programming, validation seeking and prioritizing excitement. You are not protecting your marriage by ignoring her history. You are funding the infrastructure for your eventual cuckolding and divorce. The decision you make now is not about managing a minor flaw. It is about recognizing a catastrophic psychological structure. You cannot provide enough stability to quench the thirst for validation she cultivated during her years of promiscuity. You are not her therapist. You are her settlement option. The truth is, the defense. You need to stop making decisions based on hopeful thinking and start acting based on demonstrated historical patterns. Reality, backed by decades of psychological and sociological data, confirms that history is the most accurate predictor of the future. The damage done to the pair bonding capacity and the development of the comparison disease are largely permanent features, not temporary conditions. You must choose a woman whose best years, whose best self, and whose genuine desire was directed towards you, the man she actually values, rather than being directed toward a revolving door of high-status partners while you waited for her biological deadline to force her hand. We are entering a period where the truth about relational dynamics is paramount to the survival of the functional man. You recognize the patterns, you see the performance, and now you possess the clarity to act decisively. I command you now, lock this clarity into your future decisions. Share one phrase in the comments section below that encapsulates the central realization you had today. This is how we build social proof and define the boundary between reality and fantasy. You must subscribe to this channel immediately. Do not let them keep you confused. Join the men who know the truth. Hit the like button and affirm your commitment to pattern recognition and risk management in your life. Next time, we are revealing the definitive mechanism of how the modern system incentivizes the destruction of your financial future through divorce court. We will expose the exact legal language and the most dangerous financial errors men make after commitment. The reality is painful, but ignorance is fatal. I will see you there.